Hello, and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning in today. So the people that have been watching this show for a while, look, it popped up right. Yay! Anyway, so last week, I talked about doers and procrastinators, two different personality types that obviously live on either side of the personality spectrum. So if that's something you want to see, check out last week's episode. This week, I'm going to talk about two other personality types, but kind of take it in a slightly different direction. And the types are givers versus takers and controllers versus doormats. Now, on just hearing those words up front, you might think, oh, well, they're really kind of the same thing. You know, they're similar, but a little bit different. But the reality is that they're very different. And from a very energetic perspective, they come from a different place. Each of those, so where givers and takers affect us energetically on a chakra level is different from where controllers and doormats affect us on a chakra level. And both of those, again, are on opposite ends of the spectrum. So let me do like a 5-second chakra introduction to anyone that's not familiar with that term, and we'll move on from there. So chakras are energy centers in our bodies, and they're designed to send, receive, and process information from the world around us. We all have them. We all utilize them. When we're having a psychic moment or an intuitive moment, it's because we received that information via one of these energy centers. And there are 7 energy centers that line up and down the body, starting at the base of the spine, the first chakra, and ending at the top of the head, the 7th chakra. And so, excuse me, I'm going to be talking about 2 of these chakras. I'm going to be talking about the 2nd chakra that sits just below the belly button, kind of, if you're a girl, in the baby making area. If you're a guy, I guess you know where that is too. And then the 3rd chakra sits in the solar plexus, so kind of in the stomach area, like just where the rib cages separate. So givers and takers are controlled by, issues with givers and takers are controlled by the 2nd chakra, where if you are dealing with being a controller or a doormat, it's tied to the 3rd chakra. But if you find yourself in either of these categories, if you find that you're a really big giver, or you're a controller, or if you're a taker or a doormat, it means that you are sitting on opposite ends of this energetic spectrum, and it means that that chakra is out of balance. And so I'm going to talk about those dynamics, because it's not until you go and do some healing and bring that dynamic back into balance inside of yourself that you will start to experience peace, experience happiness. You'll be able to be more authentic with yourself and with others, and maybe be a little happier. Okay. So let's start with the 2nd chakra in general, and then I'll break that down into the givers and takers. So the 2nd chakra, again, located in the baby making area underneath the belly button, is the home of our ability to feel. So if you're clairsentient, or if you feel that you're an empath, it's because this center has been activated. But but it's also the home of our needs and desires. And so when we need something, and not like I need to go buy a Mercedes Benz, but more basic to us and our survival and our desires, this is where they form, this is where they're generated. And so when this energy center is balanced, you have the ability to give as well as received. Now, people that are givers, which again, they tend to be pretty empathic, often feel the needs of other people because of that empathic gift. It's like they feel the emotional energy that other people give off. And so if somebody needs something or somebody wants something, they often feel it's their responsibility to fill this void. And they feel compelled to do it because they feel uncomfortable. When they feel this void in someone else, they feel uncomfortable. And in order to get rid of this discomfort, they will take care of the need of somebody else, and they will give. And they will give and give and give and give. And one of the things that you find about givers is that they just suck at receiving. So somebody gives you $1 million and you try to like give them a bag of potatoes back, and they're like, no, I can't take your bag of potatoes, kind of makes me crazy because I'm really a believer in like an equal exchange of energy. Not that it needs to be one for one, but there needs to be some kind of reciprocity that happens with other people. And so that's the givers. Now let's talk about the takers. The takers only feel what they need, and they only feel what they desire. And if they don't have it, and if they can't manage it from themselves, they will look to the world around them to have that need or have that desire be filled. When I say this out loud, it makes me right away think of the personality of someone who has narcissistic tendencies, is that they can't relate to you and your feelings and your life and your situation. And because they aren't able to generate their own energy, it's like they feel the need to take in order to feel this hole that they have inside. And so if you find that you're a taker, and I'm not pointing any fingers, but you might be a little of an energy vampire. You might be a little narcissistic. And if you're a giver, quit. Just quit. Think about yourself for a change. Think about your needs for a change. Not that you have to fill them every time, but sometimes would be good. And I'm going to come back to that. Now let's move up to the third chakra. So the third chakra, again, sits in the stomach area, in the solar plexus, is responsible for our power. It's responsible for our ability to create power in relationship to ourselves and in relationship to other people. And so willpower is your ability to use your power in relationship to yourself. And so if you have no willpower about dieting, or if you have, issues in getting the gusto up to do things for yourself that you want, perhaps you're having a little bit of a third chakra issue. But it's also the other power that it carries is our ability to use our power in relationship to other people. So we might be a really nice person like me. Pretty much I'm a really nice person until you mess with my money. And then the New Yorker in me comes out, and I will exude my power and just don't even think about it because it's not happening. It's just not happening because I draw that line and I have it be okay to use my power in those situations. And so when that chakra is balanced, you have the ability to use your energy, use your power appropriately. So people that are controllers, and I joke around and say people that are controllers, especially the really big controller people, and I think you'll all understand what I mean by this. They all have really big third chakras, and sometimes you can feel their energy just exuding out of them, that they just want to control and navigate every situation. And they use this energy to push their agenda. You know, it might be the agenda, but it is the agenda that they feel is important, and they want to move forward because they don't really take other people into consideration. It's only what they want and what they need. See, second chakra. But they take that power and they in some instances they force it on you and leave you with not a whole lot of choice. Many times people that are controllers have this giant fear of losing control of themselves or of a situation. Doormats, on the other hand, will buckle under pressure. Even some small pressure, depending on how much of a doormat you are, can cause them to concede to whatever. They tend to not vocalize their opinion. They don't put their thoughts out there. They don't put their needs, wants, and desires out there for other people, because if there's any blowback, it's like they can't handle it. If they receive the energy of a controller back at them, it's like a lot of the times they just can't handle it. But these people, it's like they're almost unable to light the fire of their own passion within it and project their will upon the world or upon other people. And as a result, these people are often taken advantage of. That is, taken advantage of until they explode. And then sometimes you just don't know what happened to them. But in both cases, this dynamic, the chakra, is in balance. And when there's an imbalance of this type happening, you tend to attract people that have the other thing going on. Just like you would find in an empath and narcissistic relationship where there's a dysfunctional dance going on. See that good plug? But you will always see this in a narcissistic relationship, and there's always issues tied to this chakra. One other way to begin to become aware, to become mindful of this imbalance, is if a situation happens and you start to worry or ruminate about it, you know, so you're with somebody and they want something, you know, because they're a taker or they're just being helpless, and, you know, thus meaning they want you to take care of their stuff, and you start to ruminate about it or become anxious about it. Or if you're in a situation and you're just like, la, 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 and you say something to someone and they get angry at you, or they try to push you into doing what they want and seeing their way, and it upsets you, then you might have an imbalance in that area. And so that might be a little early warning sign for you to go, maybe this is something I need to pay attention to and do some healing around. Because when those chakras are balanced, when those dynamics are balanced, you can choose to give if you want, but you can also choose to say no and not feel bad about it. You know, you can choose to go along with what's going on, or you can choose to follow your own guidance and not feel bad about it. In the end, what will end up happening is that you will feel wholer, you will feel fuller, and on the inside, you will be being a more authentic person, because what is going on the inside is being expressed on the outside. So I hope that makes sense. I thought this was a great topic and I wanted to share it with you. If you have any questions about it, please put it into the chat room area, and I'll be happy to answer any further questions about it. And if you find that you're a giver or a doormat, I mean, because my thought is that if you're a controller or a taker, you either can't really admit that to yourself or you're not really interested in fixing it. So usually it's the givers and doormats that usually seek healing. So if you're a giver and a doormat, and you would like to get some guidance on what you can do to begin the healing process in yourself, or get some energy work done on it, or anything to make you be a wholer, fuller, more vibrant, authentic person, reach out to me on my website, soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com, where you can schedule a private consultation with me. How fun is that? You know, and if you are interested in learning to become a medical intuitive counselor, or certified energy medicine practitioner, please go to my website, appliedenergeticsinstitute.com, appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. And your first step could be to download my free 50-page guide, Jumpstart Your Intuition, that has lots of information and some exercises you can do where you can start tapping into your psychic abilities today. Okay, and again, that's appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. If you're listening to this show in a recorded format and you want to come and join the fun and get a free on-air psychic reading from me, the best place to go is my YouTube channel. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. 7 p.m. Central every Thursday night. Hit the live link, join the fun, and hang out with all of us. Anyway, guys, that's my spiel for today. I'm going to go over to the comments. There's a ton of comments, but I think there's conversation going on. So I'm just going to say this now because there's a pretty good group of people in there. If you want to comment to me directly and need for me to see it or read it on air, please type in all caps, because if it doesn't look important, I'm going to just scroll by it. Okay? Okay, so our big winner for the first person in the chat tonight is Master Player. Congratulations, Master Player. Now, he was in the chat yesterday, and he's been in here all night long. Just saying. Anyway, so he says, evening, a number 3 with with large fries and a chocolate milkshake, please. Sure thing, Master. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But you know, if I bring you all that, you need to tip the waitress, which would be me. soulhealer.com/live. Anyway, all right, one more shuffle and then you're up. Ooh. All right, Master Player, that's your card for today. So Master Player, and I'm not quite sure this is the right word to put here, but I almost feel like you are feeling a little bit burned out. I feel like you've kind of pulled your energy back and are in a regrouping mode. If you're finding that this space that you're in is bothering you, and I mean bothering you because you don't feel like you're moving forward, you don't feel like you're achieving what you should be achieving, that you are in a little bit of a rest phase. Not that you shouldn't do anything, but maybe being kind to yourself and having it be okay that you're not running on 24 cylinders and just on 8. I mean, it's just a period that you're in, and the more you're able to give to yourself and the more you're able to let your body have the rest that it needs, the faster it will move out of this cycle. Okay? All righty. All right. Now we have Unar. Good evening, everyone. I'm feeling a 2 tonight. Okay, Unar, she's getting a 2. All right, they're just not wanting to shuffle for you, Unar. Okay, there we go. All right, and that's your card for today. Okay, so Unar, this is just really weird-ish. So when I check into your energy, I'm just feeling like this tingly thing all over, like almost, and I'm just interpreting the tingly, that you just kind of have like a lot of anxiety going on, that you're almost holding your breath and you're waiting for something to come to the surface. You know, my suggestion is that you can't really control it because, as you know, the world is damned if you do, damned if you don't. So why worry about it now? This situation is totally out of your control. And so just be open to accepting what happens because there's not anything you can do to change it. And I hope that makes sense. And I hope it kind of shifts something in you so that you can breathe and relax. Okay. See, now I want to know what's going on. Tell me everything down below. All right. And we have Yvonne. And she says, hi, Dr. Rita. Can I get a reading number 2, please? Thank you. You're such a welcome, Yvonne. All right, that's your card for today. So Yvonne, I'm really liking where your energy is today. I feel like you have, I'm going to say, switched out of ego and have moved into a more receptive place. You have, you've turned off that third chakra energy of like, well, this is what it needs to be and this is where I need to go. I feel like you have opened yourself up to receiving, and I'm going to say your divine guidance, whatever that might be. I am not feeling like they have particularly been communicating with you right now. And not that that's a bad thing. I just feel like they don't have anything in this moment. You know, I feel like there is stuff going on their end that they are formulating for you. You know, and basically wait. That's the commentary, wait. You know, so while you're waiting, maybe take care of yourself, clean your house, do something different. You know, and stop waiting. You know, have your life continue, move on, and keep doing things. Because then it'll turn up, but it's going to turn up in its own time and its own way, not in any way that you can control or, boy, controls come up a couple times already, or make happen. So just go with it. All right, ERRT Radio. Hi, Dr. Rita. May I have a reading number 3? You sure can, ERRT Radio. Okay. Ooh, interesting. You got the same card. So let's see what this is saying to you. I mean, I'm kind of getting a very similar thing. I mean, what they're saying, and they're saying this very clearly, you need to rest. I feel like you are pushing yourself a bit too much. They are suggesting that you slow down. They're not saying stop. There's I'm getting a little bit of concern that, I mean, I know you've had some health issues going on, that it is not, the actions that you're taking are not in alignment with you recovering yourself in an appropriate way. I don't feel like there's anything bad going on, as far as, there's been any kind of new flare up happening. But I don't know. That's just what they're telling me to tell you. So that's what I'm telling you is rest and have that be okay. And I'm getting, and this is a maybe, that they're maybe changing some of your focus and where you've been directing your energy. That's kind of like Nimbus over here. And that might be why they're wanting you to rest, so that you can kind of disengage from your forward motion here, so that you have the space to bring in this new thing for you. Okay. Again, want to hear everything. All right, Karen. Hey, Karen. Hi, Dr. Rita. Hope you had a good week. Might have a reading number 3. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, Karen. I was thinking about this. All right, there you go. Okay, I am going to go with this one. Okay, so kind of a few cards, but they're not like terrible cards. So the biggest thing that I'm feeling is that there has been a decision, or a decision that you need to make. It almost feels like it's about you moving into a new direction. I feel like there has been some resistance or hesitancy about bringing it in. I'm sensing that there's fear sitting around that. I'm feeling that if you do this thing, you will be exposed. And I hope that makes sense to you, because that's kind of interesting that would come up. And I feel like this exposure, or putting yourself out there in this way, is making you a little bit nervous. I feel like there's some energy you're supposed to be releasing, and then you're just going to like go, okay, and take the leap. I mean, I do feel like you're going to take the leap. And so maybe just own that you're going to be doing it and just take the leap, or meditate on it and give your body a chance to let go of whatever it's holding on to, so that you can take that next step and be fearless. And sometimes we take these steps, and there is fear, and we have to just sit there and go, okay, hey, fear, and put it over there and move forward anyway. And all right, I'm going to tell a story. So not that many people believe me, but I used to be really super shy. And I tell this story a lot. I used to be like really shy. But I had started doing interviews and speaking engagements. And a friend of mine kept asking me if I wanted to do a show. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Now a million years later and hundreds of shows under my belt, it's like I can't even imagine not doing podcasts and interviews and stuff like that in my life. But that first show, I picked somebody I knew. We talked about a topic I was well familiar with. And actually, for the first couple of months, I only had people on that were friends of mine, because it lessened my anxiety of like talking to a complete stranger, like talking to Neil Donald Walsh or Jesse Ventura or Dr. Norm Seeley. I mean, some of these people that I've interviewed, there were a lot of people that wouldn't even walk up and talk to them, much less like do an interview with them. And, it took a long time to get to the place where it didn't bother me anymore. And I'm feeling the same thing with you, Karen. You just need to take that step and you will grow into it. Okay? All right. So let's see. Lots of conversations. Joe. Hey, Joe. Hi, Dr. Rita. I'm kind of new to this. I see the cards very quickly when you do a reading for us and just wonder what type of deck is used for readings. Not tarot, right? May I have a reading number 2? Well, that's a great question, Joe. And there's a story that goes with these cards. Okay, so these cards are called dream cards, and they were originally designed for doing dream interpretation, which I do not do, because you have to dream, and I don't really. Anyway, many, many years ago, when I lived in Washington State and ran a psychic fair, one of my readers had this deck. She didn't read them regular, but she had this deck. And I just kept getting drawn to them, and I would pick them up and I would look at them. And of course I cut to the cards, and what's the first one that comes up? A math card, my favorite cards. And they would always creep me out. And I'm like, oh, who even wants these little math cards? They're creepy. Anyway, but they kept calling to me and calling to me. And I went to a bookstore and they had them and they were calling to me. And I bought them. And I have been reading this deck almost exclusively for like 20 years. And actually I have 2 decks. One that's in my like show stuff and one that I keep in the house. But no, they're not a tarot deck. And I never like read what the cards mean. Over the years, I've come up with my own kind of interpretation of what some of the cards mean, but that doesn't mean that like this card comes up and this is what I'm going to tell you. But there is a character to it. So, okay, number 2. Thank you, Joe. Great question. Oh, and just FYI, there are like 5 of those mask cards in this deck. All right. Ew, that was right underneath, Joe. But you didn't get it, thank God. All right, that's your card for today. So, Joe, what I'm feeling about you is you needing, and I'm going to say some alone time. I don't know where you are, if there's like a courtyard you can go into where you can just be and chill and not have people around you. I feel like your energy system is a little bit on overload right now. I mean, I know you have tools. I know you know how to work with tools, but I feel like they're not really working because there's just too much energy around you. One of the things you might try as well, and I've suggested this to other people for other situations, is doing some protection on your own personal space. And one way that you can do that is to get like 4 crystals, 4 quartz crystals, 4 obsidian crystals, or amethyst crystals. Those are the ones I like, but you can pick any one, and program them that they're going to be there to protect you. I mean, the obsidian obviously is going to ground energy, and then take the crystals and put them into 4 corners. So whether that's like a bedroom space or a living room space, but somewhere where you can make some energetic protection, put them in the corners, and then in your mind's eye, connect each one of those crystals together with a little invisible line of energy. Have those lines of energy go up to the ceiling and make the square up there too, and then turn it on, kind of like a force field on Star Trek, so that you can have your space devoid of every freaking other person there. I mean, that's my first thought. They just yelled at me, the salt crystal might be good to help, shift the energy in that space. Um, but if you're feeling out of it or whatever, you're on energetic overload. Okay. Oh, it's Amy. Hey, Amy. And she says, hi, Dr. Rita. Happy Thursday. Can I have a number 3 today, please? Thank you. You sure can, Amy. And of course, if these readings are resonating with you and you want to give me some feedback, I would love to hear your comments down below. Okay. And Joe, thank you for that question. I don't get a lot of questions, and I really do appreciate when people ask stuff. So, all right, Amy, that's your card for today. Okay, so this is, so I flipped the card and I held it up for you, and the first thing that came to my mind was alien, and I'm going to stick with that word for you. I get the impression that you are, when you look around, everything seems alien to you, and it seems foreign to you, and it's not feeling right to you, and it's just a little discerning, which I can totally understand. So remember a few weeks ago, I talked about how you leveled up, and I feel like this is part of your leveling up process, that you are in a new vibrational energy, but you're not fully used to the new vibration. And so everything just seems off and weird. That's normal. I mean, you will get used to it. The best thing that I can tell you to do is to just breathe and do what you've been doing and follow the lessons you've been learning. You don't want to unlevel, which would be a bad thing. I mean, this too shall pass, okay? As you get more acclimated to this new vibration. All righty. All right, see, now I'm talking. ERRT Radio, your hair looks amazing. Thank you, ERRT Radio. Okay, see, now we got it coming in. Karen, your hair looks amazing. See? Unar says we have to see it first. Okay, so for those people listening, there have been comments since before this show started. And so what I typed in was, well, what about the comments about my good hair? Ha, ha, ha. And so it finally got down to the point where they're saying that. And so Unar says, we have to see it first. And I'm telling you, Unar, there must be psychic people that come to get readings from me, because they often tell me how great my hair looks even before the show starts. Just saying. All right. Amy says, you always look great. Thank you, Amy. All right, Joe says, Dr. Rita, your hair always looks way better than the silly style going on where it looks like hair just out of the dishwasher and drip dried. Hey, it's Amy McCarthy. Hey, Amy. Hey there, hope you are feeling good. I'm feeling great. Amy, I don't know if you want a reading, but I'm so happy to see your name. Yay. So if you want a reading, because I think this is your first time here, and very quickly do this, just type in, I would like a reading number 1 through 3. And that's how many times I'll shuffle the cards on your behalf and give you a reading. Okay? All right. It's Dawn. Hey, Dr. Rita. Sorry I'm late, but I didn't get an email to your site. Could I get a reading number 3? I didn't get an email either. But Don, you're here on YouTube. You could set up your YouTube notifications. You could subscribe and set up notifications, and then you would get a notification. Just saying. And anybody that's here watching on YouTube, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel and set up the notifications so that, when the show's getting ready to start, it'll let you know. And then you could be here Bottom of the pile. You know, you would think there were like a million of those cards in this deck. Okay, Dawn. All right, that's your card for today. Okay, Don, so I'm just going to say this kind of blunt like, but you've been thinking some stupid shit lately. All right, I'm just going to like be a little selfish here. I need for you to calm your energy down and to get back into your body and for you to breathe. You know, I feel like, I don't know if you're having anxiety, and it's a very different energy than I've seen in you before. Now, granted, it does seem more honest, and granted, it does seem more authentic. And it's not a worry energy, but it's a like going and doing. But I don't know. I just keep feeling like this push forward, you're ending up doing stupid shit. So stop doing stupid shit, Dawn. And I still love you, even if you do stupid shit. Because you're doing stupid shit at your house and you're not doing stupid shit at my house, which makes it be a whole lot better. So Veronica's commenting on the intro, or someone who is needy. And she says, I do give and I take too. All right. And so Ricky says, hello and good evening, Dr. Rita. How lovely you're looking today. See how smart he is. May I have a number 3, please? Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. You too, Ricky. Ooh, and it's a different one. It's not even the same one I just held up. And we're doing a 3. All right. Man, this is the 3rd time this card's come up tonight. Okay, so Ricky, what is this meaning for you? Okay. So Ricky, and I hope this doesn't be insulting, but I feel like you're in a situation right now where you're having to give more than you normally would or normally would feel comfortable. I'm feeling like there's a little bit of anxiety and maybe a little resentment kind of tied to the giving. It is hard for me to determine if you're more of a taker, and I hope you heard the beginning of the show, if you're more of a taker, and so giving is hard for you to do, or that this situation is just kind of having you be overextended, or you really didn't want to do it in the first place, but you kind of got suckered into it because you didn't say no. So it's hard for me to separate out those things. But it's here and it's a thing. And so maybe you can find some joy in what you're doing, or find some grace in what you're doing, or at least do what you're doing from a neutral place and move you out of that kind of gripey place that you're in right now. So tell me if I'm hitting on that, please, please. Okay. Hi, Levi Brown. Good evening, Rita. GTSY. All right. I don't know what GTSY is because I'm old. But happy GTSY. So if you would like a reading, Levi, please go down below and say, I'd like a reading, and then a number from 1 to 3. And that's the number of times I'll shuffle the cards on your behalf. Okay. Veronica says, loving Dr. Ree's hair and lipstick. Thank you. Jessica says, hey, Rita Louise, life has been crazy lately. Yes, it has been crazy lately. And it's been hard to just kind of ground and be and just be. All right, Don says, Dr. Rita, I'm a little of both. In my life, sometimes it serves me well, but most of the times not. Okay. ERRT Radio says, great topic tonight. I was driving home after spending the day at the dealership. Well, no wonder why you're tired. That would make anybody tired, because those are like, here, we want to control and manipulate you, and we want to make you pay extra amount of money, unless you're getting your car fixed, and then they lie to you, and you have to like fight for your life. Oh my God, that sucks. All right, Don says, I hope everyone here is doing great. There you go. If time, I would love a reading number 1. It's about time that you asked, Veronica. All right, let's see what the cards have to say for you today. All right, interesting. That's your card. So, Veronica, and I don't remember exactly what I said last week, but I felt like you were in a place where you could shift your energy if you wanted to, something to that effect. And I'm going to add on to that today. So I'm feeling like you have made the decision, have started the practice of talking to like your council of elders or your higher self. I feel like you are not just running forward with thoughts and ideas, that you're actually going inside and seeking guidance from, I'm going to say, higher sources. So I don't know if you go outside much, and I don't mean like outside walking around, but like, you know, sitting out on the porch or looking out the window. But they're suggesting to me, if there's something, and this is for the right now, this isn't necessarily like the rest of your life, but if there's something that you're contemplating, that you're not sure which way to go, like part of you is like, well, this is what I need to do, but then you're getting triggered or whatever, you know, when there's stuff where there's uncertainty, that when you are hitting the right answer, that you're going to see a bird. You know, a bird's going to fly by, a bird is going to land, like fairly close, like not like, oh, I'm looking for a bird. You know, it's just going to be this very incidental meeting for you. I just am sharing. I just am sharing. You know, ERRT Radio says, I'm tired from waiting for my AC repair. At least you have AC. Mine broke and I haven't gotten it fixed yet. And Master Player said, my personal normal life, when it is getting close to getting your monthly checks from Washington, D.C. Thank you, Rita. Great hair. Thank you, Master Player. Okay, so I guess ERRT Radio lives in Minnesota. About beware of the new law about speeding cameras. They will mail you a ticket. You'll get caught in that speed camera. See, they used to have those in Texas, and I've gotten a couple of those myself. They have outlawed them in Texas, so you can no longer get a ticket that way. Amy says, I really love the way you present the topic. Working with you one-on-one, doing energy work is by far one of the best directions I've ever made. Love you, Dr. Rita. Thank you, Amy. All right. Amy Work One. So you're a new name. Hi, Amy Work One. And okay, so you're not going to get a 7 because I don't do 7. It's 1 through 3. And I'm going to give you a 3, but I appreciate you coming. And I'll shuffle 3 times on your behalf. Amy Work One, and we'll see what comes up. All right, and that's your card for today. So Amy work one, not Amy because we have an Amy. I feel like there's something that you're trying to do or achieve. I feel like you're looking at it, but it just seems really far away from where you are right now. I feel like you have done things and achieved goals of things that are kind of complicated and complex. I'm not sensing any fear from you about moving forward and getting this job done. I'm like, okay, so why are you showing me this picture? Okay. So it's interesting because you're showing me like alligators, like if I take my first step, I'm going to step into this den of alligators, pool of alligators, into a bunch of alligators, and they're going to bite you. So I don't know if there's red tape that you have to go through or some kind of bureaucratic thing that just seems daunting, but I'm feeling like there are obstacles. This is a better way of saying it. There are obstacles being presented to you from other people or from the law or regulations or whatever that is just in your first step. I feel like once you can get past that and get free of that, things will move along really well. I know it's irritating and I know it's annoying. I know you'll get past it. You just have to be diligent and maybe separate that out as a project all by itself. Like, this is something that I need to do, and let go of the big prize for a little bit to just focus your energy on this piece right here, right now. Okay. All right. So Mike Harris says, I'd like a reading too, please. You sure can. I am just going to do a number 2. So Mike, I think you've been here before. I'm not quite sure. Your name looks familiar. So you didn't give me a number. I am going to do, if I can not have the cards fly everywhere, I was going to do a 1, but I'm going to do the 1 over. Okay. All right, that was challenging. All right, so Mike, this is your card for today. And again, anyone I've done a reading for, if it's resonating with you, I'd love some feedback from you. I'd appreciate it. And so I see another name a little further down, Fred Alexander, same thing, new face. Thank you for tuning into the show. I'm really glad that you're here. Mike. So Mike, I get the impression that you're just kind of a nervous guy. I feel like it's a little challenging for you to, I'm going to say, interact. There's fear of like what other people are going to say, what other people are going to do. I feel like you try to save yourself from interacting with, I'm going to say, people's energy. I get the impression that you're really sensitive. And so that behavior of not wanting to interact with other people's energy seems very congruent with that, because they just make you uncomfortable. I don't have any guidance at this point in time other than to bring that up. Maybe you see that as being a problem, or not, but it is definitely something in your space that Spirit wanted me to bring up and make you aware of. Okay. All right. All right, Fred Alexander. All right, you didn't give me a number either, but I'm going to give you a 3. All right, and that's your card for today. Okay, Fred. So, Fred, I feel like this part of you is looking for something deeper, more meaningful. I feel like life has been feeling very shallow to you. So whether that's you're following your spiritual path or whatever it is to give you more fullness and depth in your life, it will make you feel happier. I just get the impression that everything has really just been kind of on the surface for a while. And not you really digging into yourself and bringing forward those things that will bring you happiness and joy. And maybe that's the bigger point, is that I feel like you are in the quest of figuring out what is going to do that for you. And so good luck. And sometimes it's really about picking apples off the tree and going, yep, not that one, not that one. Oh, well, that one looks pretty good. And you look at it a little bit and you take a bite and go, yeah, not that good. And you throw it away and just play with it and explore until you find what is right and perfect for you. Okay, Fred? Thanks for coming. Come back. Always love new faces. Unar says, so you are correct about my feeling uptight lately. Another amazing read. Thank you. You're so welcome. All right, Amy. So I guess I was having this psychic moment. Stop it, you stupid thing. Because I gave you a number 3. ERT Radio says, very interesting. Thank you, Dr. Rita. You have great hair. Thank you, ERT Radio. Okay. Mike Harris says, when we first met, you told me my chakra was off and somebody worked on it recently and relieved neck pain and people witnessed interesting things. Well, cool, Mike. I mean, cool. I'm glad that you're feeling better, and I'm glad that you went and got some work done on it. So I'm guessing that this was at some kind of an event. So I guess we know each other. I know your name. I'm not placing you. But thanks for coming to the show, and I hope you come back. Unar says, I love your crystal idea and will try it myself. You sure? That would be great. And then let me know what you think. And then Joe says, thank you, Dr. Rita. Again, you're right on. Thanks very much for explaining the deck. Love your story. You're so welcome. Okay. All right, Fred. So you ended up with a 3. Sorry. There's just only so much time. See, it's 8 o'clock. All right. So let's see. Don says, yes, you're right, but I'm too much of a coward to do it. Amy says, reading spot on. Very reassuring. Thanks. Heading to the tip jar. Yeah, so, if you liked your reading and you want to leave me a little something, something, you can go to the tip jar, soulhealer.com/live. And there's a link for PayPal, as well as you can use the shopping cart there and leave me a little something, something. Ricky says, yes, thank you so much. And then Levi Brown says, GTSY, again, whatever. Oh, good to see you. Oh, okay. No reading for me. I like listening to your thoughts. Okay, thanks, Leo. Thanks for coming on. Veronica says, wow, that bird thing really resonated with me. Hey, Ricky. So I would sit and chat, but it's time for me to go. So hi and bye. Master Player says on the money again. Cool. Okay, there's like a whole bunch of stuff here. All right, I'm going to have to go. Oh, we have a David Lee Williamson. Hi, David Lee Williamson. I would love to give you a reading, but it's time for me to go. But I just wanted to say hi and acknowledge that you're here. All right. All right. Anyway, guys, man, we got all kinds of people here today. We got Maya. Hi, Maya. Sorry you're a little running a little late, but I'm heading out of here. So if you would like a reading, please come back next week. Maybe get in a little bit earlier, and we can get it in. Okay. All right, guys. So my time is up for today, but as always, I will be back here next week. If you would like a deeper dive into what's going on with yourself, please reach out to me at my webpage, soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com, and set up a time for a private consultation. Anyway, guys, until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. There we go. I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.